Indira Gandhi was an Indian politician and stateswoman who served as the third Prime Minister of India from 1966 to 1977 and again from 1980 until her assassination in 1984. She was India's first and to date only female Prime Minister and a central figure in Indian politics as the leader of the Indian National Congress. Gandhi was the daughter of Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, and the mother of Rajiv Gandhi, who succeeded her in office as the country's sixth Prime Minister. Furthermore, Gandhi's cumulative tenure of 15 years and 350 days makes her the second longest-serving Indian Prime Minister after her father, and also she was the third longest-serving woman as the head of government in world. During Nehru's premiership from 1947 to 1964, Gandhi served as his hostess and accompanied him in numerous foreign trips. In 1959, she played a part in the dissolution of the communist-led Kerala state government as then president of the Indian National Congress, otherwise a ceremonial position to which she was elected earlier that year. Lal Bahadur Shastri, who had succeeded Nehru as Prime Minister upon his death in 1964, appointed her Minister of Information and Broadcasting in his government. The same year, she was elected to the Rajya Sabha, the upper house of the Indian Parliament. On Shastri's sudden death in January 1966, Gandhi defeated her rival Morarji Desai in the Congress Party parliamentary leadership election to become leader and also succeeded Shastri as Prime Minister. She led the Congress to victory in the two subsequent elections, starting with the 1967 general election, in which she was elected to the lower house of an Indian Parliament, the Lok Sabha. In 1971, the Congress Party headed by Gandhi managed to secure its first victory since her fathers in 1962, focusing on issues such as poverty. Following the 1977 general election, Gandhi was ousted from office and even lost her seat in parliament. Nevertheless, her faction of the Congress Party won the next general election, thanks in part to Gandhi's leadership in opposition to Janata Party rule, the first non-Congress government in independent modern Indian history. As Prime Minister, Gandhi was known for her political intransigence and unprecedented centralization of power. In 1967, she headed a military conflict with China in which India successfully repelled Chinese incursions in the Himalayas. In 1971, she went to war with Pakistan in support of the independence movement and War of Independence in East Pakistan, which resulted in the creation of Bangladesh. Gandhi's rule saw India grow closer to Soviet Union by signing a friendship treaty in 1971, with India receiving military, financial and diplomatic support from the Soviet Union during its conflict with Pakistan in the same year. Despite India being at the forefront of the non-aligned movement, Gandhi led India to become one of the Soviet Union's closest allies in Asia, with India and the Soviet Union often supporting each other in proxy wars and at the United Nations. Citing separatist tendencies and in response to a call for revolution, Gandhi instituted a state of emergency from 1975 to 1977, during which basic civil liberties were suspended and press was censored. Widespread atrocities were carried out during that period. Gandhi faced the growing Sikh separatism through her third premiership. In response, she ordered Operation Blue Star, which involved military action in the Golden Temple and resulted in bloodshed with hundreds of Sikhs killed. On 31st October 1984, Gandhi was assassinated by her bodyguards, both of whom were Sikh nationalists seeking retribution for the events at the temple. Her supporters cited her leadership during victories over geopolitical rivals China and Pakistan, the Green Revolution, a growing economy in the early 1980s, and her anti-poverty campaign that led her to be known as Mother Indira among the country's poor and rural classes. However, critics note her authoritarian rule of India during the emergency and the major atrocities carried out during Operation Blue Star and the Punjab insurgency. Indira Gandhi was born in Indira Nehru into a Kashmiri Pandit family on 19th November 1917 in Allahabad. Her father, Jawaharlal Nehru, was a leading figure in movement for independence from British rule and became the first Prime Minister of the Dominion and later Republic of India. She was the only child. She had a younger brother who died at an early age and grew up with her mother, Kamala Nehru, at Anand Bhavan, a large family estate in Allahabad. In 1930, the Nehru family donated the mansion to the Indian National Congress and renamed it Swaraj Bhavan, that is the abode of freedom. A new mansion was built nearby to serve as a family residence and given the name of the old Anand Bhavan. India had a lonely and unhappy childhood. Her father was often away directing political activities, incarcerated, while her mother was frequently bedridden with illness and later suffered an early death from tuberculosis. She had limited contact with her father, mostly through letters. Gandhi's first 11 years serving as Prime Minister saw her evolve from the perception of Congress party leaders as their puppet to a strong leader with the iron resolve to split the party over her policy positions, or to go to war with Pakistan to assist Bangladesh in 1971 Liberation War. At the end of 1977, she was such a dominating figure in Indian politics that Congress party president D.K. Barua had coined the phrase "India is Indira and Indira is India." Gandhi formed Raj Desai as Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister. At the beginning of her first term as Prime Minister, she was only criticized by the media and the opposition as the Gongi Godia, Hindi for a dumb doll or a puppet of the Congress party bosses, who had orchestrated her election and then tried to constrain her. Indira was reluctant successor to her famed father, although she had accompanied him on several official foreign visits and played an anchor role in bringing down the first democratically elected communist government in Kerala. According to certain sources, it was the iconic socialist stalwart Ram Manohar Lohia that first derided her personality as the Gongi Godia, that later Hindi for dumb doll, that later was echoed by other Congress politicians who were worried of her rise in the party. The first electoral test for Gandhi was the 1967 general elections for the Lok Sabha and state assemblies. The Congress party won a reduced majority in the Lok Sabha after these elections owing to widespread disenchantment over the rising prices of commodities, unemployment, economic stagnation and a food crisis. Gandhi was elected to the Lok Sabha from the Rabairi constituency. She had a rocky start after agreeing to devalue the rupee, which created hardship for Indian businesses and consumers. The importation of wheat from the United States fell through due to political disputes. In 1967, a military conflict alongside the border of Himalayan kingdom of Sikkim, then an Indian protectorate, broke out between India and China. India emerged as the victor by successfully repelling Chinese attacks and forced the subsequent withdrawal of Chinese forces from the region. Garibi Hatao, Remove Poverty, was a resonant theme for Gandhi's 1971 political bid. The slogan was developed in response to the combined opposition alliance's use of the two-word manifesto Indira Hatao, Remove Indira. The Garibi Hatao slogan and the proposed anti-poverty programs that came with it were designed to give Gandhi independent national support based on the rural and urban poor. This would allow her to bypass the dominant rural caste both in and of state and local government, as well as the urban commercial class. For their part, the previously voiceless poor would at last gain political weight and political weight. The programs created through Garibi Hatao, though carried out locally, were funded and developed by the central government in New Delhi. The program was supervised and staffed by the Indian National Congress Party. These programs also provided the central political leadership with the new and vast patronage resources to be dispersed throughout the country. Gandhi's biggest achievement following the 1971 election came in December 1971 with India's decisive victory over Pakistan in the Indo-Pakistani War. The victory occurred in the last 2 weeks of the Bangladesh Liberation War, which led to the formation of independent Bangladesh. An insurgency in East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, formed in early 1971, with Bengalis and East Pakistanis revolting against authoritarian rule from the central West Pakistan government. In response, Pakistani forces launched the infamous Operation Searchlight, in which Pakistan committed genocide among Bengali Hindus, nationalists and intelligentistas. Gandhi's India was initially restrained from intervening in the insurgency, but quickly started to support Bengali rebels through the provision of military supplies. Indian forces clashed multiple times with Pakistani forces in the eastern border. At one point, Indian forces along with Mukti Bahini rebels allied together and attacked Pakistani forces at Dalai. The attack, supported and later successfully executed by India, was done to stop Pakistani cross-border shelling. The battle occurred more than a month before India's official intervention in December. Gandhi quickly dispatched more troops to the eastern border with East Pakistan, hoping to support Mukti Bahini rebels and seize any Pakistani infiltration. Indian forces then clashed again with Pakistani forces after Indian forces crossed the border and secured Garibupur after one-day battle lasting from 28 November 1971 to the 21st. The next day, on 22nd November, Indian and Pakistani aircraft engaged in dogfight over the Boria salient, in which thousands of people watched as 4 Indian Foreland nuts shot down 2 Pakistani Canadier Sabres and damaged another. Both Pakistani pilots that were shot down were captured as prisoners of war. The Battle of Boria instantly made the 4 Indian pilots celebrities and created large-scale nationalism as the Bangladesh Liberation War saw more and more Indian intervention and escalation. Other clashes also happened on the same day but did not receive much of media attention, as did the Battle of Boria and Garipur. On 3rd December 1971, the Pakistani Air Force launched Operation Genghis Khan, which saw Pakistani aircraft attacking Indian air bases and military installations across the western border in a preemptive strike. The initial night-time attack by Pakistani forces was foiled, failing to inflict any major damage on Indian air bases, allowing Indian aircraft to counterattack into West Pakistan. Gandhi quickly declared a state of emergency and addressed the nation on radio shortly after midnight, stating we must be prepared for a long period of hardship and sacrifice. On 12th June 1975, the Allahabad High Court declared Indira Gandhi's election to the Lok Sabha in 1971 void on the grounds of electoral malpractice. In an election petition filed by her 1971 opponent Raj Narain, who later defeated her in the 1977 parliamentary election running in the Rabaril constituency, alleged several major as well as minor instances of the use of government resources for campaigning. Gandhi had asked one of her colleagues in government, Ashok Kumar Senior, to defend her in court. She gave evidence in her defiance during the trial. Almost 4 years, the court found her guilty of dishonest election practices, excessive election expenditure, and of using government machinery and officials for party purposes. The judge, however, rejected the more serious charges of bribery laid against her in the case. Gandhi moved to restore order by ordering the arrest of more of the opposition participating in the unrest. Her cabinet and government recommended that then President Faruddin Ali Ahmed declare a state of emergency because of the disorder and lawlessness following the Allahabad High Court decision. According to Ahmed, declared a state of emergency caused by internal disorder based on the provisions of Article 352(1) of the Constitution on 25th June 1975. Within a few months, the President's rule was imposed on 2 opposition parties ruled states of Gujarat and Tamil Nadu, thereby bringing the entire country under direct central rule or by governments led by the ruling Congress Party. Police were granted powers to impose curfews and detain citizens indefinitely. All publications were subjected to substantial censorship by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Finally, the impending Legislative Assembly elections were postponed indefinitely, with all opposition controlling the state governments being removed by virtue of the constitutional provision allowing for dismissal of a state government on the recommendation of the state's governor. The emergency saw the entry of Gandhi's younger son, Sanjay Gandhi, into Indian politics. He wielded tremendous power during the emergency without holding any government office. According to Mark Tooley, his inexperience did not stop him from using the draconian powers his mother Indira Gandhi had taken to terrorize the administration, setting up what is in effect a police state. In 1977, after extending the state of emergency twice, Gandhi called elections to give the electorate a chance to vindicate her rule. She may have grossly misjudged her popularity by reading what the heavily censored press wrote about her. She was opposed by the Janata Alliance of opposition parties. The alliance was made up of Bharatiya Jana Sangh Congress, the Socialist parties, and Charan Singh's Bharatiya Kranti Dal, representing northern peasants and farmers. The Janata Alliance, with Jai Prakash Narayan as its spiritual guide, claimed the elections were the last chance for India to choose between democracy and dictatorship. The Congress party split during the election campaign of 1977. Veteran Gandhi supporters like Jagviyan Ram, Mvati Nendan Baunguna, and Nandini Satapati were compelled to part ways and form a new political party, the SFD, Congress for Democracy, due to primarily to intra-party politicking and circumstances created by Sanjay Gandhi. The prevailing rumor was that he intended to dislodge Gandhi, and the trio stood to prevent that. Gandhi's Congress party was suddenly crushed in the elections. The Janata Party's democracy or dictatorship came to seem to resonate with the public. Gandhi and Sanjay Gandhi lost their seats, and Congress was reduced to 153 seats, compared with 350 in the previous Lok Sabha, 92 of which were in the south. The Janata Alliance, under the leadership of Morarji Desai, came to power after the state of emergency was lifted. The alliance parties later merged to form the Janata Party under the guidance of Gandhian leader Jayaprakash Narayan. The other leaders of the Janata Party were Charan Singh, Raj Narain, George Fernandez, and Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Since Gandhi had lost a seat in the election, the defeated Congress party appointed Yashwarrao Chavri as their parliamentary party leader. Soon afterwards, the Congress party split again, with Gandhi floating her own Congress faction. She won a by-election in the Chikmagalur constituency and took a seat in the Lok Sabha in November 1978. After the Janata Party's attempts to have Kannada Matini idol Rajkumar run against her failed when he refused to contest the election, saying he wanted to remain apolitical. However, the Janata government's own minister Chaudhary Charan Singh ordered her arrest along with Sanjay Gandhi on several charges, none of which will be easy to prove in an Indian court. The arrest meant that Gandhi was automatically expelled from parliament. These elections included that she had planned or thought of killing all opposition leaders in jail during the emergency. However, this strategy backfired disastrously. In response to her arrest, Gandhi supporters hijacked an Indian Airlines jet and demanded her immediate release. At the time of the emergency, there were widespread rumors that Indira had ordered her such guards to eliminate firebrand trade unionist and socialist party leader George Fernandez while he was on a run. Few international organizations and government officials issued request letters to Indira Gandhi pleading her to relinquish such decrees. Fernandez had called a nationwide railway strike in 1974 that shut the railways for 3 weeks and became the largest industrial action in Asia. Indira had turned furious over him and strike was massively cracked down. Her arrest and long-running trial gained her sympathy from many people. The Janata coalition was only united by its hatred of Gandhi or that woman, as some called her. The party included right-wing Hindu nationalist, socialist and former Congress party members. With so little in common, the Morarji Desai government was bogged down by infighting. In 1979, the government began to unravel over the issue of the dual loyalties of some members to Janata and the Rashtriya Swayamek Sangh, the Hindu nationalist paramilitary organization. The Ambition Union Finance Minister Charan Singh, who was the Union Home Minister during the previous year, had ordered the Gandhi's arrest, took advantage of this and started courting the Congress. After a significant exodus from the party to Singh's faction, Desai resigned in July 1979. Singh was appointed Prime Minister by the President Reddy after Gandhi and Sanjay Gandhi promised Singh that Congress would support his government from outside on certain conditions. The conditions included dropping all charges against Gandhi and Sanjay. Since Singh refused to drop them, Congress withdrew its support and President Reddy dissolved Parliament in August 1979. The Congress party under Gandhi swept back into power in January 1980. In this election, Gandhi was elected by the voters of Bedak constituency. On 23rd June, Sanjay was killed in a plane crash while performing an aerobatic maneuver in New Delhi. In 1980, as a tribute to her son's dream of launching an indigenously manufactured car, Gandhi nationalized Sanjay's debt-ridden company Maruti Udyog for 43 million rands and invited joint venture bids from automobile companies around the world. Suzuki of Japan was selected as the partner. The company launched its first Indian manufactured car in 1984. Following the 1977 elections, a coalition led by Sikh majority Akali Dal came to power in the northern Indian state of Punjab in an effort to split the Akali Dal and gain popular support among the Sikhs. Gandhi's Congress party helped to bring the orthodox religious leader Janal Singh Bhindwala to prominence in Punjab politics. Later, Bhindwala's organization Damdami Taksal became embroiled in violence with another religious sect called the Sant Nikarani Mission, and he was accused of instigating the murder of Jagat Narain, the owner of Punjab Kesari newspaper. After being arrested over this matter, Bhindwala disassociated himself from the Congress party and joined Akali Dal. In July 1982, he led the campaign for the implementation of the Anandpur resolution, which demanded greater autonomy for the Sikh majority state. Meanwhile, a small group of Sikhs, including some of Bhindwala's followers, turned to militancy after being targeted by government officials and the police for supporting the Anandpur resolution. In 1982, Bhindwala and approximately 200 armed followers moved into a guest house called the Guru Nanak Niwas near the Golden Temple. On 31st October 1984, two of Gandhi's Sikh bodyguards, Satwad Sikh and Ben Singh, shot her with the service weapons in the garden of the Prime Minister's residence at Savdugujong Road, New Delhi, allegedly in revenge for Operation Blue Star. The shooting occurred as she was walking past a wicket gate guarded by the two men. She was to be interviewed by the British filmmaker Peter Ustinov, who was filming a documentary for Irish television. Ben shot her 3 times using his side arm. Santwat fired 30 rounds. The men dropped their weapons and surrendered afterwards. They were taken away by other guards in a closed room where Bint was shot dead. Keral Singh was later arrested for conspiracy the attack. Both Santwat and Kewa were sentenced to death and hanged in Delhi's Tihar jail. Gandhi's death was mourned worldwide. World leaders condemned the assassination and said her death would leave a big emptiness in international affairs. In Moscow, Soviet President Konstantin Chernenko sent condolences, stating the Soviet people learned with pain and sorrow about their timely death in a villainous assassination of glorious daughter of the great Indian people, a fiery fighter for peace and security of peoples and a great friend of the Soviet Union. President Ronald Reagan, along with Secretary of State George Shultz, visited the Indian embassy to sign a book of condolences and express his shock, revulsion and grief over the assassination. The 42nd Vice President of the United States, Walter Bodale, called Gandhi a great leader of the great democracy and deplored this shocking act of violence. Asian, African and European leaders mourned Gandhi as a great champion of democracy and leader of the non-aligned movement, expressed its deepest grief and called the killing a terrorist act. South Korean President Chung Dong-hwan said Gandhi's death meant the loss of a great leader to the whole world. Yugoslav President Veselin Duranovic, Pakistani President Mohamed Zia-ul-Haq, Italian President Sandro Patni, Pope John Paul II, and at the Vatican, French President François Mitterrand condemned the killing. At the United Nations, the General Assembly paused in its work as shocked delegates mourned the death. Assembly President Paul Lusaka of Zambia postponed a scheduled debate and hastily organized a memorial meeting. Gandhi is remembered for ability to effectively promote Indian foreign policy measures.